So let's talk about something every man has faced at least once. That moment when a woman who once ignored you suddenly decides to reach out. Maybe she texts you out of nowhere. Maybe she likes one of your old photos. Or maybe she sends that subtle, "Hey, how have you been?" message. And instantly, your mind starts racing. Should you reply? Should you keep ignoring her? Is she genuinely interested again, or just testing the waters? This question, should you keep ignoring her when she reaches out, is more than just about texting. It's about power, self-respect, and emotional discipline. It's about how a man handles himself when the dynamic shifts. Because when a woman reaches out after pulling away, she's not just saying hello, she's checking to see who you've become in her absence, if you've grown stronger, or if you're still the same man who chased her before. Most men make the mistake of reacting emotionally. They either rush to reply, hoping for a second chance, or ignore her completely out of pride. But both extremes can backfire. The real strength lies in understanding why she's reaching out, and what her message actually means. Because every word, every emoji, every "I miss you" carries a motive behind it, whether she's aware of it or not. In this video, we're going to break it all down. I'll teach you how to recognize the psychology behind her actions, how to respond or not respond with power, and how to protect your emotional leverage as a man. Whether she's testing you, regretting her decision, or just seeking attention, you'll know exactly how to handle it with calm, confidence, and control.
1. Understanding why she's reaching out. When a woman reaches out after distance or silence, most men instantly assume it means she wants them back. But that assumption often leads to confusion, disappointment, and emotional setbacks. The truth is, women reach out for many different reasons, and understanding why is the first step to responding with power instead of emotion. Women are emotional communicators by nature. They don't always reach out with a clear plan in mind. Sometimes it's curiosity and she wonders what you're up to, whether you've moved on or if you still care. Other times it's nostalgia. She remembers a moment you shared, sees a photo, or hears a song that reminds her of you, and suddenly the urge to connect hits. But there are deeper layers too. Sometimes it's guilt for how things ended, or even a subtle way to test if she still has an emotional hold over you. You see, when a man goes silent, it changes the balance. She begins to feel uncertainty, something women aren't comfortable with when they were once in control. That uncertainty can drive her to reach out, not always because she misses you, but because she wants clarity. She wants to confirm she can still affect you. It's a way to ease her own ego to check if the door is still open. This is why many women send small, low-effort messages. A "Hey stranger" text, a like on your old post, a comment on something random. These aren't accidents, and they're emotional feelers. They're designed to draw out your response so she can measure your level of attachment. For you as a man, the key is to not take her contact at face value. Don't let a message instantly trigger hope or excitement. Instead, pause and think. What is her intention here? Is this genuine curiosity about reconnecting, or is it simply about her needing reassurance that she still matters? A woman who truly wants to reconnect will show it through consistency and effort. She won't just send one vague message and disappear again. She'll engage in real conversation, show genuine interest in your life, and follow through with plans. On the other hand, a woman who's testing you will be inconsistent. She'll reach out, get your attention, and fade away again once her curiosity is satisfied. Understanding this difference helps you avoid emotional traps. It teaches you to see patterns instead of just moments. When you can calmly observe her actions without reacting, you take control of the situation. You shift from being emotionally driven to being logically grounded. So, before you decide whether to respond or ignore, take a step back and decode her motive. Once you understand why she's reaching out, you'll see that not every message deserves your attention. Only the ones backed by real intent do. 2. The psychology behind male silence. When a man stops talking to a woman, especially after she's walked away, it creates a shift she doesn't expect. Most women are used to being chased, comforted, or reassured. They're used to men trying to fix things. So when you go quiet, it doesn't just confuse her, it unsettles her. That silence starts to echo in her mind louder than any words you could have said. To understand why, you have to recognize something about human psychology, especially the female emotional response to uncertainty. Women are emotional feelers. They draw confidence from knowing where they stand in your world. When you're always available, she feels safe but also certain. And certainty breeds comfort, not attraction. But when that certainty disappears, and when your silence replaces your presence, it triggers something powerful: curiosity, reflection, and sometimes regret. At first, your silence might seem like indifference to her. She might even tell herself, "He's just mad," or "He'll come back." But as days turn into weeks and your focus stays on yourself, she begins to feel something she didn't before: the loss of your attention. And make no mistake, your attention is one of the most valuable things a woman can experience. It validates her, it makes her feel desired, and it gives her emotional meaning. When that's gone, she starts to question what changed. This is where silence becomes psychological power. It's not manipulation, it's emotional contrast. Most men respond out of fear of losing her, but a man who stays silent shows emotional control. That control tells her you're not desperate for her validation, and it redefines how she sees you. Suddenly, you're not the man waiting around. You're the man who can walk away. But here's the key: silence only works when it's real. If you're silent but constantly checking her social media, posting things just to get her attention, or sitting by your phone waiting for her message, that's not true silence, that's emotional noise. True silence comes from self-focus. When you've redirected your energy toward your purpose, your goals, your peace. That kind of silence isn't an act. It's a reflection of strength. And that's what unsettles her most. Because while she might try to move on or test your reaction, your emotional stillness forces her to confront something deeper: the realization that she no longer controls your emotions. She starts to wonder if you've truly outgrown her, and that uncertainty creates space for attraction to rebuild. So, understand this: your silence isn't about punishing her, it's about protecting your peace and showing your growth. It's about proving to yourself that you no longer need to chase validation. When you master the psychology of silence, you stop reacting to her energy and start commanding your own. That's when a man becomes unforgettable. 3. When ignoring her becomes weakness. There's a fine line between emotional strength and emotional avoidance. While silence can be powerful when a woman has walked away or when you're reclaiming your peace, it becomes weakness when it turns into a pattern of avoidance inside a relationship, or even at the start of one. Many men confuse control with coldness, and that's where the problem begins. If you're in a relationship or about to be in one, your silence shouldn't become a weapon. Ignoring her just to teach a lesson or to appear dominant doesn't make you powerful, it makes you emotionally unavailable. Women respect calm strength, not passive aggression. And when you use silence to punish instead of to protect your peace, you turn strength into insecurity. In a healthy relationship, silence should serve one purpose: clarity. Sometimes stepping back to cool down, reflect, or give space can be necessary. But that space should build understanding, not confusion. When a woman genuinely cares for you, your emotional distance will hurt her. She'll feel unseen, unappreciated, and eventually disconnected. Over time, that emotional wall you build ends up isolating you, not empowering you. For men entering new relationships, this is where self-awareness becomes key. Many men, after getting hurt before, start using emotional detachment as a shield. They think that by acting indifferent, they're protecting themselves. But what really happens is they block emotional connection before it even forms. A woman can feel when your silence comes from confidence, and when it comes from fear. Ignoring her messages for no reason, pretending not to care, or constantly withholding attention doesn't make you mysterious, it makes you unreadable. And unreadable men might attract short-term curiosity, but they lose long-term respect. Emotional maturity means knowing when to be silent, and when communication is the real show of strength. Let's be clear, every man needs boundaries. You shouldn't chase, over-explain, or argue emotionally. But in a relationship, power isn't about who talks less, It's about who leads with calm direction. When something feels off, silence won't fix it. Conversation, honesty, and emotional discipline will. You can be assertive without being reactive, calm without being cold, and firm without shutting her out. When you ignore her just to avoid responsibility or hide from conflict, you're not in control. You're running from discomfort. That's weakness. But when you choose silence to maintain composure, self-respect, and perspective, that's maturity. So, for men in or entering relationships, remember, silence should never be a tactic. It's a mindset. A moment to reset yourself, not to manipulate her. True strength comes from communicating with composure, leading with intention, and knowing that the goal isn't to win against her. It's to build something strong enough that silence becomes peace, not punishment. 4. The right way to respond, if you choose to. When a woman reaches out after silence, every man faces that critical moment. Do you reply or do you stay quiet? And if you choose to respond, how do you do it without giving away your power? The truth is, your response can either rebuild attraction or destroy it instantly. It's not just what you say, it's the energy behind it. Most men make the mistake of replying too quickly or too emotionally. They see her name pop up, and before they even think, they're typing paragraphs or trying to restart the connection. That's not strength, and that's reaction. And the moment you react from emotion, you lose control of the situation. The key is to respond intentionally, not impulsively. Before replying, take a moment to center yourself. Ask, why am I responding? Is it because I genuinely want to reconnect? Or because I miss her attention? If your motivation comes from loneliness, validation, or curiosity about how she feels, it's better to wait. But if you're grounded, calm, and simply open to seeing what her energy is like now, then you can respond on your terms. Now, how do you actually do it? Keep it simple and composed. Don't overthink your words. If she says, "Hey, how have you been?" You don't need a speech. A confident man keeps things light but firm. "I've been good, staying busy." That's it. You're showing you're doing well, but not begging for her attention. You're keeping emotional balance. Your tone should reflect control, relaxed, not distant, engaged, but not eager. Think of it like holding eye contact without blinking. You're showing her that you're grounded in your own world, and if she wants to be part of it again, she'll have to earn that spot. Avoid emotional storytelling or diving into the past. Don't bring up how she hurt you or how much time has passed. That gives her the emotional advantage. Let her do the emotional talking. You do the listening. A calm man who listens more than he reacts is far more intriguing than one who tries to prove a point. And here's an important rule. If she's inconsistent, replying one day and disappearing the next, pull back immediately. Don't chase after mixed energy. Her consistency will tell you everything. If she's genuinely interested, she'll match your calmness with effort. But if she's just checking if she still has you emotionally, she'll lose interest the moment you don't feed her ego. Responding doesn't mean giving in. It means you're confident enough to engage without attachment. You're not proving your worth. You're simply showing that your peace doesn't depend on her. That energy is magnetic, because the man who responds with self-control and self-respect is the man she can't figure out. And that's the man she remembers. 5. Testing verses. Genuine interest. Here's something most men don't realize. When a woman reaches out, it's not always because she misses you. Sometimes it's because she wants to test you. And yes, that's controversial to say, but it's the truth that most men ignore. Not every message, like, or call is driven by real interest. In many cases, it's driven by ego, curiosity, or emotional boredom. See, women test men not because they're manipulative, but because they're emotional creatures who seek reassurance. They want to know, do I still have an effect on him? Is he still emotionally available? Could I still get him back if I wanted? And the only way she can get those answers is by reaching out and watching how you respond. If she sends a text and you instantly reply, if you suddenly become excited or start over-investing emotionally, she gets her answer. You were waiting. That satisfies her curiosity. And often she disappears again. It's not cruelty, it's emotional validation. She just wanted to confirm her influence over you. But when a man stays calm, composed, and detached, that test doesn't work. She realizes she no longer controls your emotions, and that's when the attraction starts to shift. It's uncomfortable for her because she's used to men reacting. Your stillness becomes a mirror. It forces her to reflect on what she lost instead of what she can still control. Now, here's where things get tricky. Some women do reach out with genuine interest. Maybe she's matured. Maybe she regrets walking away. Maybe she realized your absence left a space no one else could fill. But how do you tell the difference between a test and true intent? A test is short-term. It's about her ego. Genuine interest is long-term. It's about connection. A woman testing you will send inconsistent signals. She might flirt, then disappear. She'll say things that sound deep but don't follow through with action. Her communication will feel shallow and uncertain. A woman with genuine interest, on the other hand, will be consistent. She won't just check in, she'll show up. She'll make time for you, ask meaningful questions, and try to rebuild trust. You'll sense effort, not confusion. Here's the controversial part. Most men can't tell the difference because they want to believe it's genuine. They let hope blind their logic. They confuse attention with affection, and that's why they keep falling into the same emotional traps. As a man, your job isn't to assume every message means something. It's to observe patterns over time. Her consistency will reveal her truth. Don't get hypnotized by words. Focus on effort. Because in the end, a woman who truly values you doesn't test your patience. She invests in your presence. And the moment you learn to separate testing from sincerity, you stop being her emotional experiment and start being the man she respects. 6. Reclaiming your power through detachment. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood concepts in relationships. Most men hear the word and think it means being cold, heartless, or uncaring. But that's not what true detachment is. Detachment isn't about cutting off your emotions. It's about mastering them. It's the ability to care without clinging, to feel without losing yourself, and to love without becoming dependent on how someone else feels about you. When a woman reaches out, your emotional state is tested. She's not just testing your patience. She's testing your foundation. Detachment is what keeps that foundation strong. It's what allows you to respond from power, not from need. A man who's detached is a man who no longer lets external situations control his inner peace. Think of it like this. When you're emotionally attached to her validation, your behavior becomes reactive. If she texts, you feel high. If she ignores you, you feel low. Your sense of worth rises and falls based on her attention. That's emotional slavery. But when you practice detachment, you take that power back. Her actions no longer dictate your emotions. Your mindset does. True detachment starts with self-focus. You stop waiting for her message and start investing in yourself, your body, your goals, your discipline. You rebuild your life in a way that no longer revolves around her approval. The more fulfilled you become on your own, the less desperate you are for someone else to fill your emotional gaps. And here's the paradox. The moment you detach, you often become more attractive. Why? Because women are drawn to men who have emotional control. They feel it when your energy no longer seeks validation. You stop giving off that chasing vibe. You move differently, with confidence, not neediness. That shift in energy speaks louder than any text you could send. Detachment also gives you perspective. You start seeing things as they are, not as you wish them to be. You can recognize when a woman's effort is genuine, or when she's just playing emotional games. You stop negotiating your peace just to keep her interest. You realize that your time and energy are limited resources, and not everyone deserves access to them. But make no mistake, detachment isn't about becoming numb. You can still care deeply, you just don't lose yourself in caring. You can love her, but from strength, not from fear. When you reach that point, her actions can no longer control you. Whether she reaches out or stays silent, you remain centered. That's what real masculine power looks like. Not the man who never feels, but the man who feels everything and still chooses peace. Detachment turns chaos into clarity, emotion into discipline, and rejection into redirection. When you master it, you don't just win with women, you win with life. 7. What true strength looks like. After she reaches out. When a woman reaches out after distance or silence, the moment can feel powerful, almost like the tables have turned. But that moment is not about revenge, validation, or proving a point. It's about demonstrating who you've become since she last knew you. True strength isn't about how cold you can be. It's about how calm, grounded, and self-assured you remain when emotions try to pull you off balance. Most men think strength means showing no emotion at all. They believe if they act uninterested, she'll chase harder. But that's not strength. That's performance. Real strength doesn't need to perform. It's felt through composure. It's in the way you speak, the way you hold eye contact, the way you don't rush to fill the silence with explanations or old emotions. You've evolved, and that evolution speaks for itself. When she reaches out, you might feel tempted to remind her of how she treated you, to make her feel the regret you once carried. But that's not power. That's pain talking. A strong man doesn't need to prove he's healed. His peace already proves it. You don't need to make her feel bad for leaving, and your growth silently does that for you. True strength after she reaches out is about emotional control. You choose how to engage or if you engage at all. You decide if she still deserves access to your energy. You know your boundaries and you don't break them for temporary attention. Whether you respond or remain silent, your actions come from self-respect, not ego. It's also about emotional awareness. You've learned to understand her patterns without judging them. You can see when her message comes from sincerity and when it comes from testing your availability. And instead of reacting, you observe. That ability to pause before you act is what separates powerful men from emotional ones. You see, strength isn't found in control over her. It's found in mastery over yourself. The more disciplined you become, the less unpredictable emotions can sway your behavior. She might sense that difference and start to see you in a new light. Not because you changed for her, but because you grew without her. And here's the most important part. Your strength after she reaches out shouldn't be about her at all. It's about continuing the journey that her absence helped you start. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need closure, validation, or revenge. The kind of man whose peace is his power, so when she reaches out, stay calm, stay clear, stay grounded. You've already won when you can look at the situation and realize that whether she comes back or not, your life moves forward with purpose. That's true masculine strength. Not in controlling outcomes, but in mastering yourself. In the end, when a woman reaches out, your reaction defines everything. It's not about ignoring her out of pride or chasing her out of emotion. It's about knowing who you are and what you stand for. The strongest men don't get pulled into old cycles. They lead with composure, clarity, and calm. Whether you reply or remain silent, do it from strength, not need. Your peace, your focus, and your growth are the real measures of power. Because once you master emotional control, you stop chasing validation and start commanding respect.